welcome back to my channel. On today's episode, again, I'm cooking and I'm going to be making afang soup, okra, stew, groundnut soup. I think that's about it. Yeah, so I'm just going to show you the process while again I tell you a story about a book that I have read. This book, I actually recommend it for a lot of young adults, like teenagers in your life. So if you do have a teenager, you know, a teenager who's just coming of age, you should get them the book. It's called Sweet 16 by Bolaji, Mr. Bolaji. I mean, if you Google it, you'll see it. So I'm just going to tell you a summary of the story, or I'm just going to gist you what it's about. But it's very insightful. It's really nice. It's one of those books that gets recommended by JAM. JAM is Joint Admission and Matriculation Board. So yeah, I'll tell you the story. Enjoy, and remember to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Okay, bye. Imagine being 16. Yes, 16. That age where suddenly the world feels both too big and too small. You're not a child anymore, but you're not quite an adult either. Everything feels confusing, exciting, and maybe a little scary. This is where Aliyah comes in. So you see, Aliyah wasn't just the regular teenager, like she was not the average Nigerian teenage girl. Aliyah was smart, curious, and full of questions. So many questions. She was very inquisitive. Questions that most parents would not want to answer. Like she had questions that most parents find uncomfortable. If you grew up in a Nigerian household, you know what I mean. Like questions that will make your parents uncomfortable. Questions about friends, school, boys. Remember Aliyah is a girl. She had questions about her own appearances, the world around her. Even questions adults sometimes hope teenagers won't notice yet. Aliyah was that girl. Like she knew exactly what she wanted to know. Like she knew, she was curious and she was not afraid to ask. And luckily for her, she had a very understanding and patient father. So this book is a story about Aliyah Bello and her father when she came of age, when she turned 16. And typically, yeah, it's right that you read this book in SS3 because most SS3 students in Nigeria are about 16 years old. Well, like I said, Aliyah's father was not like most African and Nigerian dads. He was quite knowledgeable. He was a retired journalist. He believed in honesty. He believed in dialogue. Like he believed he could converse with his children. He believed he could answer questions. He believed in guiding his daughter with love, not fear, as is typical with African households. And for her 16th birthday, he gave her something very unusual, something very dramatic, something extraordinary. Not like you would think, oh, maybe he gave her an iPhone or he gave her a tablet that she has been wanting. No, or jewelry. No, it wasn't. It wasn't clothes, but he gave her a 16-page letter, one for each year of her life. Can you imagine? Every single page was filled with memories, advices, guidance, stories, wisdom from someone who has lived and wants to prepare you for the world. You know, that was something very out of the ordinary. And that just shows you how intentional her father was. And it gets more interesting. So imagine it's your birthday and you're expecting a present from your dad, and then he hands you a little book, a book of letters. That's exactly what Aliyah's father did for her. And me reading the book, I was like, oh my god, this is so nice. And I was just imagining how thoughtful, how very intentional he would have been for him to have thought, oh, this was the perfect gift for my child. Anyway, so they talk about everything. They talk about friendship, they talk about school, they talk about peer pressure, they talk about appearance, everything that you can think of. Her father was always listening. And this sort of reminds me of my dad, because I used to be such a curious kid, and my dad always answered all of my questions, all of my even the irrelevant ones. He took his time. I remember when I used to travel with him, I would ask him about the same buildings. Like if I saw something interesting, if I saw a building that was interesting, I would ask and he would always answer. I will ask about trees. Why are the trees moving faster than the car? Why are they moving as the car is moving? Anyway, back to the story. Aliyah will ask her father questions that were honest and blunt. She talks about her classmates. She talks about compromising situations. She doesn't hold back from her father, and I believe that that was the atmosphere that her father wanted her. He wanted her to be free. He wanted her to be with to be able to talk to her about anything. And that exactly was what Aliyah did. She didn't hide anything that happened at school, any of her quirks, any of those things. She wasn't bothered by it because she knew that her father wouldn't judge her. He would always listen to her calmly and explain to her also why the choices that you made matter, how peer pressure can trap people, why thinking for yourself is the most important skill anyone can have. He instilled all of those things in her. This is why I say if you have a young child growing up with you, this is an ideal book to buy for them. This is an ideal present to give to them. And it will help them steer them in the right direction, because at that age, or when children are growing, that's when they're most impressionable. That's when you can instill values in them. Anyway, through the conversations that Aliyah has with her dad, she begins to grow quietly, thoughtfully. She begins to realize that growing up isn't just about turning 16. It's about knowing yourself. It's about knowing what you want. It's about making proper plans for your life. Aliyah struggles with body image issues, the desires to fit in. As is typical with a young child, a young girl that is growing up in Nigeria or in the society. So this issue is compounded by societal expectations, peer pressure, judgment at school. She faces a lot of those kinds of scenarios, and they test her decision making skills, dealing with gossip among friends, resisting the pressure to follow crowd and do what her mates are doing, even if sometimes they are morally questionable, like they go against her morals, they go against the things that she's learned at home. So she struggles with these kinds of things. So through these interactions, that is the letters that her father wrote to her. Her father is Mr. Bello. He provides guidance, not by imposing, like he's not forcing his ideals or his morals on her. He just tells her her own views subtly, but he's able to convince her. He's able to psych her into making informed decisions. He would often encourage Aliyah to think critically, make her own decisions, make informed choices. He tells her that true confidence comes from self-worth, and true confidence and self-worth comes from within. Like you have to think it from inside. It's not from external validation. It's from your ability to be able to make independent decisions that are devoid of influences from other people, and that is an essential part of growing up. So turning 16 is not just turning 16 or being an adult. There's so many things that come into play. So the way that her father presented these things to her helped her to reflect on her own experiences. She gradually developed resilience and self-awareness. You know how when you're given the option to do something, Like they've explained something to you, like, oh, this is this is that. But I'm not forcing you to do anything, but it is your own prerogative. You can do as you please. You can choose by yourself, just like how God gives us free will. That's what her father did for her. So, of course, the turning point in this novel is where Aliyah comes to a moment of self realization. It's not very dramatic. You would, in reading the book, you understand, like, you realize it. Even as an adult, I read the book as an adult, obviously, and I thought I still learned. There were things that I learned from it. There were still lessons that I picked from it. Sometimes you learn something as a child, but growing up you might forget. So even as an adult, excuse me, even as an adult, this book is a good guidance, and it will also help you navigate how you relate with young people, with children, with teenagers that are around you. So I highly, highly recommend that you should go get Sweet 16 by Bolaji Abdullahi and read it. If you're also like, if you are in my age range who are making children already, and you need to keep yourself abreast with, I'm sure that there are things that your own parents did that you think that, oh, there might be a better way to do it, or there might have been a better way to address it. This book helps you put things in perspective, so you should go get it. I think that that's like a summary of the book. That's all the gist that I have about the book. Alia turns out to be a very responsible adult. She makes informed decisions. Her father guides her properly. He's not judgmental. He's not imposing. She's not scared of her father. She's able to tell her father anything. That's something that I was privileged to have with my siblings and my parents. I wasn't, nobody was shutting me up and telling me, oh, shut up, you talk too much. I was allowed to be as expressive as I could be. So, like I said before, this book emphasizes that growth is gradual, and it's a period of self discovery, learning, preparation for the challenges of adulthood. It sets a very perfect foundation for the challenges that you're going to meet as an adult, because I'm sure that as an adult you are seeing that this adulting is not adulting the way that you thought it was adult. So yeah, so please remember to subscribe, like, share, continue to watch the video. I'm just going to put music over it. I'm loving this idea of actually telling you about books that I've read while you watch my videos. I hope that you enjoy it. The last video hasn't done views, and it's okay. It's okay. One day, one of my videos is going to go viral again. And maybe I'm going to get more viewers, and I'm going to get better audience. And maybe somebody will like this. If you do like this idea of me talking about the books that I've read or telling you stories while you watch videos of me cooking, let me know and I'll continue. Uh, Other than that, I could also, I don't read a lot of books, and most of the books that I've read, I'm not so much of a reader anymore. Most of the books I read were when I was way younger, and I don't exactly remember the stories verbatim. But it's a habit that I'm picking up again. But something that I do very frequently now is I see a lot of films. So I might also get into talking about film while you watch whatever it is, maybe me cooking or whatever I'm trying to show you in the background. And subscribe. See you soon.